on YouTube.
Which means...
Mega with 7A! What do we get? What do we get?
I don't know, an all black one.
Ooh. You got the Avon one. What's the date to the 21st? No, the 20th, right?
20th.
Yep. What'd you get? The Sheer Light Peach. You want to try it on?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
I was just thinking my life hasn't been complete since I haven't had lipstick on today.
Well, I mean, I think it would go with your shirt or your sweater, but I guess not. We'll go over national days instead. Today is National Cheese Day. Did you get cheese for your mom?
No, I forgot about that.
So did I. I'm not a cheese fan. But tomorrow is National Appreciation Day. We'll go with.
Appreciation Day?
And National Hugging Day, too.
Ooh, well, that kind of fits.
Yeah, I guess, huh? In a way.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't fit.
You can appreciate hugs. There you go.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, but hey.
Well, you didn't say it. So make sure you go hug and appreciate.
You say I talk too much anyway, so I figured I'd give you a reprieve.
Oh, well, thank you. You're so grumpy.
What a sarcastic thank you that was.
A little bit. And then, I'm going to throw another one out there. National Squirrel Appreciation Day. I love squirrels, though. If I could have a pet, anything, it would be a squirrel.
A squirrel?
Yeah.
As in a squirrel?
Like a tree squirrel.
That? Or a squirrel, real squirrel, or a human squirrely squirrel?
A real squirrel. And it's more important. Tomorrow is my parents' anniversary. So that is really the national day.
That's cool.
Totally. All right, we're going on Facebook.
Are we on Twitch?
Nope, I haven't got there yet.
Guitar music. It comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on IE Newswire, both on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
What the hell?
What?
Wow. Way to steal my lines. Carry on.
I said N.
I know, and then you said YouTube.
Well, I figured you'd pick it up from there.
Now you ruin the moment.
Oh.
But make sure you go and hit the like and subscribe button. So that way you get prompted every time Roy does a show.
Wow.
You stole my lines, man.
I just did the YouTube part.
I know. It's all right. I forgive you. Or do I? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I could.
I'm just kidding.
I could tell.
And head over to Twitch.
Forgiveness was all over your face.
And head over to Twitch and hit our purple follow button. And follow us on Instagram, too.
IG.
Yep.
Oh, yes, we are now up on good old YouTube. Or, I mean, on Twitch. Where's the comments thingy? Oh, there it is. A lot of things going on today. Today, we changed presidents of the United States. Donald Trump left the presidency. Joe Biden was sworn in at noon Eastern time, about 9 o'clock our time today, as the 46th president of the United States of America going on. And it was a stark contrast in both. I mean, you could not get 180-degree opposite from 4 years ago to today. And we're going to go through a couple of examples of that here in a bit. Cliff Cummings will be on us later on. We'll have some very enlightening stuff that came on by Peter Navarro Jr., one of the guy that actually wrote the memo to put the travel ban in from China with the coronavirus and all that other fun stuff that we always do every day. But as we said, you're going to start off. This is the one moment, or this is we're going to run about a minute of the Joe Biden acceptance speech at his inaugural today on that. So We're going to run just a little bit of this clip, so here we go.
I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them by becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for those left behind and for our country. Amen. Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up, all of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era.
Thoughts?
I like how he did the prayer moment. I thought that was kind of nice for all those that we've lost. Everything else, I couldn't be engaged with it. The moment of silence was very nice, though. That was probably the only part that I enjoyed.
My take on it is, you want to talk about negative across the whole board on that, and then he's bringing up systemic racism, which I will tell you again, the definition of systemic means large, everywhere, whole. The inequities and all the stuff are going on, and we got to face these challenges, and we will be judged by that. Yeah, Joe, we will be judged by how we all do. Just look at, pull number 4 up again, please. So look at the picture of that face. And that's the way he looked throughout the whole 16, 18 minutes of the inauguration. I did not hear no joy, no optimism. This is what we're going to do. It was all very maudlin, and that back and forth of that. I'm going to take you back 4 years ago today. President Donald J. Trump was sworn in as the 45th president on January 20th, 2017. Here's the beginning of the Donald Trump speech. Here we go.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. They have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now because this moment is your moment to you. It belongs to everyone gathered here today and everyone watching all across America. This is your day, this is your celebration, and this, the United States of America, is your country.
Thoughts?
People were more engaged, but I think Trump knows how to get people engaged and feeling involved and happy and excited. I think he's always been really good at that, which is a great thing for a leader to have, unlike Biden. But they're two totally different people. Completely different people.
Joe Biden, up until about 2 years ago, could give a pretty good speech about like Donald Trump and rally the troops.
I've never seen Joe Biden's speeches before any of this, so I'm comparing it to who I've seen recently. Could he get a crowd going like Trump does, though? I mean, he's always been able to get a crowd going.
Yes.
As he should.
That's what I was explaining. In the 48 previous years to the last two, he would get the crowd going. He got elected senator 87 billion times, 2 terms as vice president. He was a political animal. I mean, he knew how you don't survive in that industry that long without having that pretty much that type of quality to you. You're seeing that, but it's always been negative on riling the crowds up on negativity. They're after you. The man is after you, da-da-da-da-da. But this is what we're going to do. The stark contrast, in my view, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is Joe Biden always kept his knee on the neck of the average working American people, while, if not lying to them, being very disingenuous, saying, oh, I'm fighting for you and this, and, we're working for the people. He's had 50 years of that. And in the Biden-Obama presidency, vice presidency, from 08 to 16, 8 years, 90% of the people lost their wealth. Their wealth went down. In the black community, it was down 30%. Trump came in, dropped the regulations, got the Keystone Pipeline going, got control of our borders, lowered the tax rates, got $1 trillion almost like that of capital that was offshore back in the United States. Opportunity was there going for 3 years until the whole COVID thing came in and basically did that. That's the stark contrast. Trump said, I'm going to take it away, or I'm going to show you where the establishment, they are no longer going to rule this. He said, it's your day. You're going to get your nation back. And then he went on a crusade, and using the presidency as best he could to put those policies and stuff and actually, for once, put the people first. We've just flushed that right down the toilet. And if you're looking at that, and I want to show you the crowd I've got up there on number 4.
Really quick, Stephen writes, and I think this touches on what you're saying. He is also a regular civilian, not a politician taking office. He did a great deal for our country. Talking about Trump.
Yeah, and this there you go. 4 years ago versus today. And I mean, if you want to see the tens of thousands, if not 100,000s that were at the Trump rally, you could almost count the people that were at Biden's rally. What? 200 people?
Is that a rally or inauguration?
Or inauguration, I mean. Well,
but I think they were doing social distancing or whatever crap.
25,000 troops today? You don't think you're in an occupation?
Edward writes in, the only inauguration that had more National Guard than citizens.
Yeah, 10 times. 100 times.
Why do they have so much there, though?
Because
they're security? They were worried about it?
I said, we're going to get more into this. But I've always said everybody needs to watch, and it's about 22 minutes. Go to start page, DuckDuckGo, not that other evil one search engine, type in obsolete man Twilight Zone of this. I'm just going to play this short 30-minute clip of this.
30 second.
30 seconds of that on that, because this is why when you see an occupation, this is an occupation of D.C. 25,000 people, only 200 watching the inauguration. That stinks. Here we go.
Mr. Wordsworth.
A lie. No man is obsolete.
You have no function, Mr. Wordsworth. Ghost from another time.
I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages.
You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect. An ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
You're a librarian, Mr. Wordsworth. You're a dealer in books and...
That... If this isn't what's going on right now, I don't know what is.
And that was Twilight Zone?
Yes, that's the obsolete man from 1961 going across. And I lost the AOC one. But the same thing. She was in there saying, we got to get control of the media. We're doing that. We've seen the banning and everything else. If you want to see... Edward... This is why you have 1,000 to 1, 100 to 1 people at the inauguration versus troops. You don't think it's coming? This is what Nikita Khrushchev said, the premier of the Soviet Union in 1956. Number 4, please. We will take America without firing a shot. We do not have to invade the U.S. We will destroy you from within. Look at the connections just between the Biden crime family and the Chinese Communist Party and what they are doing of that. If you don't see what's going on, I don't know what is. And to me, it's a shame that we're going through this, or we have to. Maybe 2020 didn't knock us upside the head hard enough. Maybe we had to get hit harder, figuratively, to straighten this stuff out. Or you're going to... Joe Biden talked about unity. You did not hear liberty. You did not hear empowering the people. You did not say, I'm giving you your country back. It's all about climate change and cubicles, and we're going to control. And one thing that he said, I will not get us. I did not support the Paris Climate Accords and all this other nonsense of this. Here's Biden signs executive orders on climate change, on the coronavirus pandemic, climate change, and racial inequality, undoing some of the policies put in place by Trump. Actions fulfilling his promise to move quickly on day one of his presidency, initiate the process of U.S. rejoining the Paris Climate Accord, which he said during the campaign, oh, I was not in favor of that, da-da-da-da-da. He did it the first day in office. You include revocation of the presidential granted for the not controversial, freedom and liberty loving Keystone Pipeline, which one of the big reasons that drove gas prices down is making us energy independent. The steps Biden is taking will end the travel ban. We're going to deal with that in a minute. Trump put in place some majority Muslim countries, and also calling upon the administration to strengthen the DACA program for immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. He's also ordering the wearing of masks and social distancing to all federal buildings and all federal lands, and ending the national emergency declaration, which was diverting some federal funds to build the wall on the U.S. border. When he said, and during the debates, he said, I wasn't in favor of being in the Paris Accords and all that. What did he do the first day in office? Signed it. We're back on it.
Lies. But we did make history today with the first female vice president.
And what a history that's going to be, because you're probably, I'm going to say, within the year, you're going to have the first female president.
You think so?
As Nancy Pelosi said a couple months ago when all this 25th Amendment came up, she said it wasn't about Trump. Well, if it wasn't about Trump, who was it about? Look at Uncle Joe. Look at that speech. Look at him. If you want to talk cognitive decline, I'm no medical doctor or give medical advice, but I think even Ray Charles can see what's happening with Joe Biden on that. And it would, and that's exactly what the 25th Amendment is. If the president is not physically capable of carrying out his duties, the vice president and cabinet members can remove him from office. So, I mean, we're within about, I think, 4 or 5 people of taking, just can take, if it is determined, which I don't think it's going to be a big stretch, to determine Joe Biden in the very near future will not be able to carry out his duties as president, then guess who is going to be your 47th president of the United States?
Well, you know how I feel about women being president, but I think it's kind of cool that we have a female vice president. I think we should celebrate that a little bit.
And then you really want to see
Or
making
not.
America California again? Peter Navarro, we talked about the travel ban. It was almost in 2 more days. They had the big meeting in the White House. Anthony Fauci was there. Dr. Peter Navarro, who you're going to hear here in a second. Dr. Peter Navarro was the one that wrote the travel ban when the Wuhan, China thing came on. That when it first was getting discovered and we're thinking, man, we got a problem. Peter Navarro said, you better put a travel ban in from China on that. This thing could get ugly. Dr. Anthony Fauci was saying there's no problem going on here, nothing to worry about, was working. Peter Navarro and I think one other were the only ones. Everybody else in the Trump administration was saying don't do the China travel ban. That was and Fauci even later on admitted that was the single best thing we did to stop this thing. This is Dr. Peter Navarro Jr., who was in the room, and he will tell you this, or in that he's in the war room with Steve Bannon. Here's a short, this is just an audio, so it's just a short little clip on Steve Bannon. This is Peter Navarro about him writing the memo and his dealings with Anthony Fauci almost 1 year ago.
Tell us about that, sir.
Situation Room, right? It's a scene right out of the West Wing. If you did a documentary on that, I come in there I'm going to make the case that we need to pull down those flights. To me, it's the intelligent thing in the world on behalf of the president, right? And I didn't know Fauci at the time. I didn't know Redfield at the time. And these two guys are sitting across from me. Mulvaney's down the end of the table, and within 5 minutes, this
You wait till you hear what's going to happen here.
son of a bitch is telling me travel restrictions don't work in his like Brooklyn accent. And it's like, what are you talking about? We're going to bring 20,000 people in a day from China, and that's if we stop doing that, that's not going to help. And he was just adamant about it. I didn't know who he was, but I walked out of there thinking, wow, that's an arrogant son of a gun right there. That guy's trouble.
That guy's trouble. From Peter Navarro, who probably took and made or put the single most action in and said, hey, he was the one that was in the Trump administration. And I mean, this is the Trump administration saying, he's saying, no, man, this thing is bad news. It can get out there. And Fauci saying no. And like you said, you heard it from Peter Navarro, who was in the Situation Room. None of us listening were there. He was in the room with Fauci and Trump and the rest of the cabinet. And there's his word's eye account of what happened and what his observation, Dr. Peter Navarro, of Anthony Fauci. And now Biden is making Fauci the big guru again over coronavirus. Can you say, are we in trouble?
I'm not going to say that. Everything's going to be great. It is. We need the damn kitten videos. Follow it with the kitten video to make people happy.
Again, Show me in that, run through the whole inauguration speech of Joe Biden and see one thing that was happy.
I'm telling you, the moment of silence was my happy moment. And then everything else was just so monotoned. There was no excitement. The first day as president, too, you'd think he'd be like, hell yeah. President.
Yeah. I mean, just...
But I mean, I think that he was just, he was ready for a nap. He was tired. Get the man a
said
break.
it better myself.
Jeez. No, I'm just kidding. We're so screwed. Where's the kitten video? Aw.
It is. I mean, I'm standing there and stunned almost.
But you know what? I do appreciate how quick it was. I mean, I do, because, I mean, we don't need to hear you talk for like 5 hours. You know, you're president. That's great. Let's move on. So it was nice that it was short and sweet. My mom would have appreciated it. She's always liked things like quick. Birthday parties, do the presents, do the cake, eat, get out. You know, that's kind of, it reminded me of my mom a little bit. No offense, Mom, if you're watching.
Boy,
I
want to say what's flashing through my head, but
Please
I
don't.
don't. Yes.
But my kids watched. This was the first inauguration, too, that I've ever watched. Isn't that sad? I know it is. But my kids watched. It was great. Stephen writes it on Facebook, Joe needs Roy's special mixture.
He needs something, I'll tell you that. I mean, it's sad to watch. It's really sad to watch.
But you know what? I think the sun was in his eyes. That's why he had that.
We can roll it. No, this is everyone is president-elect or that he looks exactly the same. But like he almost needs toothpicks in his eyeballs to keep them open.
He's tired. Having seasonal allergies. It's windy out. I'm curious to see though how the world goes down.
Oh yeah, we're in for a heck of a ride, no matter which way it goes.
It could be an interesting one.
Maybe
it'll get better. I mean, let's try to be positive for a minute. Maybe it'll get better.
Here we go. Here's number 4.
It's not
please.
Going to, is it? All right, yeah.
This is on Bloomberg, but they're getting the statistics from the Center of Disease Control. More than 54 million shots given COVID-19 vaccine tracker. So we get down to the statistics. Here's the U.S. vaccine campaign. California is, guess what number in percentage of shots used out of the 50 states?
I don't know, even though it's right there.
Well, no, they're not giving
you
the
not in
number.
order, though, huh?
They're giving you the percentage of shots used.
I don't know, just tell me.
Take a guess. 1 to 50.
1 to 50? I'm going to go with 48.
You were close because it's number 50.
Ah, dang it. I figured
California
it was,
is the last state in percentage used. Look at Texas. Almost the same amount of doses administered. Almost half of the doses that they got distributed. 2.5 million versus 4 million. They're both at almost 1.5 million. Texas is over 50% distributed it. Large state, next state, Florida, 48%. Next largest state, 56%. You read that average. They're average. The 3 most populous states under California are over 50% average distributed the vaccine versus California. And then we have North Dakota and South Dakota, which are way over twice as much. We are number 50. If that doesn't get you, and this is Fauci's deal and gov. Oh,
but we were late getting it though, weren't we? And
No.
like administering it and getting it out, weren't we behind?
Were late. Yes, we all got it all the states got it distributed at
But
the
we were
same
late
time.
giving them out.
Yes.
Getting our game plan and everything.
We are
together.
behind. We are number 50 in
What
distributing.
number are we again?
50.
I know, I just wanted to see you say it again.
And I love saying.
I know. I can tell your excitement. That's why I had you do it again. And put a smile on your face. Why not?
Because we had Dr. Kelly Victory on last night explaining it. We said, look at Texas and Florida, next 2 most populous states. You go in with COVID, you get a prescription for hydroxychloroquine protocol that in California, in our national or our state-run healthcare, national healthcare that they all want to tout about, Obamacare. Oh, go home, and if you have any more symptoms or if they get worse, come to the emergency room or the hospital.
But you know what I heard? That if you are in the hospital and you get released and you come back, that hospital does not get paid by the insurance company. If you come back within like the certain amount of time. That's why hospitals don't want to take you back. So I don't get why they'd want to send you home. Have you heard anything like that?
Because they want to run this crisis up and make it worse. The policy of nationalized healthcare or government-run healthcare means you are going to be sick. That is what grandma's going to die because, like New York Como sent 5,000 of the nursing homes, our worst ones, back to the nursing homes as COVID positive. Basically, that's like a death sentence. You got Chucky Schumer now leading the Senate. You got Nancy Pelosi ahead of the
She scares me. I think out of everybody, she scares me the most.
Am
I reading that right?
Well, probably. I don't know. Between Chucky Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Kamala Harris, I don't. It slays me. And then having the governors, the twin evil governors, as I call them, Newsom and Cuomo in California and New York. I mean, you got poor Joe Biden up there as president of the United States.
He has no idea what's going on.
Yes, basically, and as we had in the LA Times article that we're going to make California, we're going to make America California. They said Kamala Harris is going to have the last word. Well, yeah, because at least her brain is, no matter what you think of her policy, at least she's coherent.
Right.
I mean, again, as you said, we're screwed.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Where's the kitten video?
You should have thought of that before you said, we're screwed.
No, I think we are. I think we still got more downhill to go before we come back up, but I think we'll come back up. I'm positive. I'm not positive, but I'm hopeful for that.
As you dig that hole deeper, it's harder to, it's obviously
It
harder
is, but I think a lot of people that are on the other side are going to kind of maybe learn a lesson out of this. I'm hoping by that. You know what I mean? The ones that don't have the Roy juice will wake up one day. And watch a lot of damn kit videos. They're helpful. You don't think so, though? I mean, you gotta go down and come back up. I think we got a lot down.
The thing of it is if you keep going downhill too much, you reach that point of no return.
No, you can always return back.
Last Venezuela.
1 minute.
They can come back. No, that's Sean.
That sounds like Sean. This is Wednesday.
Hi, Sean.
Does it matter who it is?
Us here on this very confusing day.
Is it Jesse or is it Sean?
Oh, hi, Jess.
You're doing a pretty good Sean impression there.
I know, it's scary.
I
was like, how did he know to call?
20 seconds.
Jesse's back in running the control zone as he usually does on Wednesday to give Sean a break because he's almost lives at the KMET studios over there. That we'll be back on the Mighty Med as aforementioned here in
5 seconds.
Daily is on the air. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed do not.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday on the Mighty Med 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the AM airwaves throughout the Inland Empire. Joining our vast video audience on IE Newswire, on Facebook, Twitch. Boy. Wow.
On YouTube! See, you can't take that away from me. Make sure you go and hit that like and subscribe button and share us to your world. And head over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button too. Carry on.
We're coming to you on a flipped out
Wednesday.
That the whole world's upside down. We ran the stark contrast of the crowd 4 years ago versus today at the inauguration, and the two stark contrasts in the inauguration acceptance speeches 4 years ago from Donald J. Trump as he was sworn in as the 45th president, and today as Joseph R. Biden Jr. was sworn in as our 46th president. Of that, I think it's very important that you should take the first half hour of the show and share it to everyone, because it's not only that. We ran a little clip of the obsolete man, the Twilight Zone episode in 1961 of that, and how apropos. We're going to have to dig deeper in that, but go to start page, go.go, put in the search engine, obsolete man. It's only about 20 minutes long. Go and watch the obsolete man, and don't think. And see if you can draw some parallels, and I'll just leave it at that.
Dun, dun, dun.
We had Peter Navarro as he was on the War Room with Steve Bannon. Peter Navarro, almost 1 year ago, wrote the memo and was in the Situation Room with Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Donald J. Trump, and most of the cabinet heads. And Peter Navarro was waving flags saying we got to put the travel ban in to get because this thing is serious. If it gets out of control, it's getting out of control in China, this coronavirus. If not, Fauci was saying don't do that. And then we heard from Pelosi and Chucky Schumer, now heads of both branches of Congress, Majority Leader and Speaker of the House, mind you, saying that this was racist. Trump was racist for doing it. Anthony Fauci finally had to come back and say that was we ever did when he was in the Situation Room arguing against it. And as Peter Navarro said, his impression of Anthony Fauci a year ago was that's one arrogant SOB of that. And again, that's what they're talking, and that's the impression of somebody that was behind locked doors, had the right policy, probably saved or extended millions of lives, versus Anthony Fauci, which would throw you to the wolves of that. I mean, here we go. And we want to promote making California, America, California again, when we are last, number 50 in distribution of the COVID vaccine that's supposed to save us all, according to Anthony Fauci and Joe Biden and all these guys. I mean, it boggles my mind.
Mind-boggling. I'm putting the links in the comments.
Well, it does. I mean, what else do you say but flipped out Wednesday? I mean, I think
Steven says, "Whoa, Wednesday." I kind of like that one.
What Wednesday?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Like you're in your woes.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to take the negative tact like the Joe Biden inaugural speech, yeah, you probably would. I mean, go back and at least just run that clip. And it said that we ran both clips of it, of Joe Biden's acceptance speech, in about a minute and a half.
It is sad, like you said, though, and I didn't really... I don't know. I've never seen him peppy or happy, though, either. So I'm just kind of thinking his speech was just his speech. But why isn't he happier that he's president?
Well, again...
That kind of bumps me out now.
If you go back to his 50 year, because he was elected senator almost 50 years ago. When at age 29, he's now 78, got to be president.
Like, you're the frickin' president of the United States.
Go look, and there's plenty of archives. I defy you. Speech on Congress as vice president. You might, and I'm not saying there isn't, for every positive or even somewhat uplifting speech by Joe Biden, I bet you could dig out 100 that are negative like that. And just as he said, I'm for the people, during his vice presidency and his presidency, his 8 years, from 08 to 16, the Obama-Biden administration, 90% of the people had negative wealth from 08 to 16. Blacks especially lost 30% of their wealth in those 8 years. We restored it back plus in 3 years on Trump by deregulation, cheaper gas prices, attracting capital back in, and now they're telling us we want to throw that all away and go back to the Obama years, the Biden years, and the negativity and everything that's going on. I just can't wrap my head around that stuff. It's hard to imagine that that's where we're at in society today. It's really, I mean, I just cannot, it defies all logic of that. But maybe somebody that can bring some sort of clarity or logic to what went on, the events that we've been enduring this past year, culminating today with the swearing in of the 46th President of the United States, Joseph Biden Jr., along with Nancy Pelosi leading the House. And I just got information that it is official now. Chuck E. Schumer is the Majority Leader of the Senate. We're going to welcome in the owner of Toyota San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, and I-10 of Toyota. Cliff Cummings, welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy.
Thanks. Always good to be here. How are you?
As good as can be expected on that. We did run a couple clips, about a minute and a half of Joe Biden's inaugural speech and about a minute and a half of President Trump's speech 4 years ago today. The stark contrast of the negativity and everything, just the somber mood of that, and we're all in trouble versus Trump. I'm giving you back your country. I'm taking it back from the establishment. This is your time, your country, go for it. And the throngs of people were there versus 200 people watching Joe Biden versus 25,000 military and National Guard troops. Your thoughts, Cliff?
Well, first off, Trump's 2016 election speech was probably the first step in his doom when they went to fix the election to make sure he didn't get a second term. It was positive. It was an outsider. They can't stand outsiders, cannot stand it. So now, in effect, Trump being an outsider again with Donald Jr., Eric, and others, I think they'll continue the honorable fight with the loyal opposition, of which you and I are too.
Right.
And we need to let them get their game plan down, if there is one. And we need to be looking at items that can be beneficial for the U.S., obviously, but California, the businesses in California, the people in California, the kids in California. And one of the number one issues is to get this governor out. Now, when I go around and I talk about these things, people say, well, yeah, but, you know, what about what we get? And I said, what we get will likely be somewhat more afraid of what the voters are actually thinking than this guy in Sacramento, because that guy will be gone. And in having spoken with Tom Del Beccaro yesterday, the day before, looking at numbers, talking to just people, and I'm getting it's on my desk, I'm signing it. I got it, I just sent it. We're at about 1.2 million. We've got 2 months to get another 750,000, 800,000 signatures in so that you can purify it
right,
and have a real election. Then the next thing is, who's going to be on the ballot? Who's going to be the next person, like Arnold was when we got rid of Gray Davis? So I think there will be Democrats raising their hand this time, which did not happen except for one, right? We had one, Cruz Bustamante, who's never been seen again, raised his hand, and you had Republicans. There could be 50 people on a ballot to replace Gray Davis. Now, if that's the case, we, as the loyal opposition and who want Governor Haircut gone, then we need to look at who the best of that list is. And you will not see who the best of that list is even raise their hand until the recall signature count gets something in the neighborhood of 1.5 million or 1.6 million. There are a couple of guys out there that are edge players whom I don't think are necessarily the strength of the field, because the strength of the field is they're sitting there dissecting how they would go out and win in a very crowded field. Now, the good news is, for Californians, is that the winner in the recall election simply has to have the most votes by one. Doesn't have to have 50% plus one vote. They just got to have the most votes. So you can win that thing with 28%. Now, that opens up another door. 28%, we've got 35% Republicans, mostly conservative. If they all voted for one person, Melissa Melendez, okay, there's one. Menendez, she's great. So, or another person like that, the conservatives get together, they could actually win, even though they're in a minority in this state. But I think some of the folks who are going to try to run are going to act Democrat-light, Republican rhinos, and go out there and try to sneak their way in by softening the positions that got the state into, and agreeing with the positions that got the state into the terrible mess it's in with the exodus of business and jobs. That was a long speech. Your turn.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't know if you caught the LA Times article over the weekend that said the Biden-Harris, which is really the Harris plan, and it was laid out in there, was to make America into California. And I think we need, or this is my line, I'll run it by you. As in the Georgia Senate election, I think we need to make the recall of Gavin Newsom in California a national issue. And we should not only usher in the forces of California, we should usher in the Trump supporters, the freedom and liberty supporters all across America, the 75 million that voted for Trump. The first action you can take is recalling Gavin Newsom. And as you say, get somebody in there in California to start turning it around. Because and it's probably a question of when. We're going to have the presidency probably for sooner than later, Kamala Harris. You're going to have Nancy Pelosi leading the Congress, or and Chucky Schumer as that. You're going to have a California cabal running this thing, and if you don't stop it here in California, I don't want to think about the rest of the country.
And we have a question on Facebook for you, Cliff, really quick. Steven writes in and asks, who does Cliff want to see as a governor and why?
Oh, you broke up.
Steven writes in on Facebook, who does Cliff want to see as a governor and why?
Right now, what I can describe what I want to see, but I don't have the who, because the people haven't raised their hands. What I would like to see is a very fiscally responsible individual who understands that Governor Haircut came out and said we've got a budget surplus in California. That may or may not, most likely not, be true. But what the Democrats will not talk about is the $1 trillion plus pension debt that is going to crush this state. So it's got to be someone who's got the guts to go out there and spread the word that this state is $1 trillion plus in debt to prison guards, police, fire, forestry guys, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's not their fault. Their guys did a great job of cutting a deal with a weak government. So what's going to end up happening? Cities like San Bernardino, who went bankrupt, okay, they have no fire department now. They depend on the county. That pension debt of theirs was, their argument in court was tossed out. They have to pay it. So by the time they get done paying the bonds and the loans, it's going to be somewhere around 2028. And the bankruptcy occurred a few years ago. So you can see the kind of, just in that one example of San Bernardino, how deeply in debt this state is with very little capacity to pay it. And states, as many of you know, cannot declare bankruptcy. They have methodologies for raising money. That means taxing us more, whether it's sales tax, property tax, go down the list, income tax. So this budget surplus that Gavin Newsom is talking about is actually it's a red herring in a way, because you've got the $1 trillion debt behind it that they will not talk about. So who would I like to see? A fiscally responsible individual, a person, and I'm leaning very much toward Hispanic female as a description. People, a Republican Hispanic female who have kids in schools, who see what the problems are firsthand in the school system, who see how strong the teachers union is and how they're keeping our kids out of school right now. I would love to see someone who has got a military background so they understand the sacrifice that our military folks make. There are a number of folks out there who can do that. The hard part's going to be trying to get a Republican to say yes, who isn't self-aggrandizing and looking for a step ladder to move forward, like the guy in San Diego. At the end of the day, I think that it's going to be a tough choice, and there's going to be a great many of those on the ballot. We're going to have to assess who's there, put our values on that, the individual out there as to which person closely matches pro-business, pro-job, our thought process, and then support that person. But a lot of us are going to have to get behind that individual, whoever it may be.
I got one thing just before, and I want to get your comment on the nationalizing, but I'm going to say something, or I'm not necessarily advocating that this is a person, but somebody that matches what you described, or is positioning herself, maybe not matches, but is positioning herself to everything you described, except she's a Democrat, I think, is Gloria Romero, the assemblywoman from Whittier, because if you remember, she came out, against Prop 15 of the tax increase on, and dismantling Prop 13 on that, and she's been sounding a lot and sounding that fiscal conservative thing a lot the last year in the Assembly, and saying Democrats are getting out of control. Not saying she's the candidate, but she's, I think, as this recall is getting, she's positioning herself to be the Democrat that runs on that ballot.
Well, there's, from what my source told me yesterday, there are at least 5 Democrats positioning themselves to run on that ballot. Whereas, remember, Cruz Bustamante, the missing, was the only Democrat to run against what turned out to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's the only Democrat on the ballot. So, it's going to be a cavalry charge. There's going to be X number of Democrats, let's say 5 for argument's sake or more, some minor players, some other party people who just want to get some name out there and get 37 votes, and then you're going to have to find the Republican that works the best. One of the things about your nationalization of the California issues is very intriguing. Georgia and other races that we lost, I thought were run absolutely horrifically. Horrible. And I have a meeting coming up with some of the major donors who helped fund these things, and I'm going to tell them that. I think they ran a crap campaign. I sat there. I maxed out with both candidates in Georgia. Couldn't give them any more money by law, and they were wasting all kinds of dough contacting me to give them more money, which I couldn't do.
Right.
So instead of spending the money judiciously and targeting people who could or were like thinking, they were absolutely wasting it left and right. And we can't do that in this environment and in that state. So now, what do we do? Nationalizing the California election, I think the Democrats are doing us a favor by talking about making California the national model for the United States. That would absolutely, think if you're in Oklahoma and you hear that, or Texas or Florida, I think that is perfect. We have attack points left and right. Remember, it's going to be a year about before they can get anything done because it takes that long to write the garbage they're going to write. We're going to have some special elections, I'm sure. We've got one election that's still not decided, right, for Congress. So that'll be done here shortly. The Republican will probably win by 32 votes. So we'll pick that up. And then we get the midterms, and then we can stop everything because I think we'll have the House. Now, and we may have the Senate back. Let me tell you one thing that's great news for us, and I don't like this guy. Mitch McConnell, who I think did a terrible job as a majority leader, is a genius at being a minority leader. He knows all the ways to stop stuff, cut deals, short circuit some of the stupid. That's one thing in our favor. There's a second thing in our favor. Democrats in Congress and in the Senate, particularly in the House, all right, in the House, they are afraid of AOC and the wacky agenda that they're putting forward. You will probably see multiple Democrats, maybe not switch parties, but vote with Republicans to stop the stupid. And that may be our campaign slogan, stop the stupid. And they will jump on board to stop the most of the agenda that Joe Biden will absolutely abandon, because they're going to see the numbers and they're going to go absolutely bat crazy, and they'll start moving away from it. So that's where I think it'll go. Am I optimistic for California? Right now, no, I'm not. Well, can we change it still? Yes. And believe it or not, we've got a great starting point right now, because they're going to screw it up even more. And with Tesla and Musk leaving, among many others, then the economic impact here is going to be very significant.
I hope that resonates.
I want to get T-shirts made that say #Stop the Stupid.
Yeah,
I love that.
And I mean, that would be a great slogan to nationalize it, because from Texas to South Carolina to Vermont and everywhere in between, and rolling back to California, I can't emphasize them enough. Don't let the cancer of California spread across the 49 states, and it's almost getting to the malignant deal now. If you don't act fast and act now, you might not be able to stop it. So I think it's imperative, at least in my view, that we really put up the clamps and learn from the mistakes of the past, like you're pointing out. We can't run campaigns like we have done before. Let's do them smarter and better than the rats, and let's kick their ass. Got about a minute left.
Well, I think, first off, it's always great to be on. Secondly, I'm going to change topics on you. I spent the day at SoFi Stadium, second time I've been there, working on a sponsorship deal with the Rams, the stadium, and the Chargers. Singularly, one of the most impressive buildings I've ever seen. It is unreal what they've done down there. I think that we'll make a decision whether we're going to get engaged with them here in the next month. But it is a miraculous building. It's phenomenal. And they've got a 6,000-seat concert hall. They've got housing, shopping, rental units, purchase units, all going in. So Englewood is going to get the benefit of that. They have the Forum, which is they're spending $70 million on. They've got the Clippers are going to move out of Staples Center and move over there and build their own facility. So we're seeing towns like that re-energize, and they're doing it with a city council of about 4 people and a mayor. Okay, they're cutting through the clutter that LA creates and other places create. So that should be an example for San Bernardino, Riverside. You pick a town, right? That is how we should be acting. We should be going fast. We should cut through the crap, and we should start building things in a positive way. I'm very pleased at what the city of Englewood's been able to do to attract this stuff. And remember what's there, right? You got to drive down Manchester Avenue and Prairie. It's ugly, and it's just going to get better. But the other cities need to look at who is successful and start to copy that.
Time flies when we're having fun. Thanks for being on. We'll do it again real soon, Cliff.
Thanks, Cliff.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. What was your little chuckles about?
What?
Your little chuckles. I know you got something to say. Say it.
Now you want me to... I don't say anything. You're mad when I say something. You're mad when I don't say something.
Who the hell ever said I was mad when you say anything? You're so weird. I figured it was another Roy was right moment. I wanted to make Steven happy, and
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you.
it was another Roy. See, I knew it.
Well, no, you
Shut
said
up.
it.
No, I'm
I
just
didn't
kidding.
say it. No, I really do. I really do. I hope.
Here we go.
I hope it's the impetus that we really do nationalize this recall election on that, and I hope the freedom and liberty types will get their act together and not suffer the losses and start playing the game to win. I mean, that's the bottom line. You can do all that, and you can have all the cliches and this and that, but it doesn't mean nothing, and nobody likes a loser. Doesn't mean nothing if you ain't winning. And we ain't been winning in a while. We need to turn that around. We'll be back tomorrow on that, as we usually are, starting live at 5.
And we're going to have a kitten video.
And we're going to have a kitten. I bet you we
No,
are.
a squirrel video, because tomorrow's National Squirrel Day.
Squirrel Day.
Squirrel Appreciation Day. Go hug a squirrel.
So until the squirrel video tomorrow, we're
We're
gone.
gone.
The proceeding was a paid
I
program.
wonder if you